Hey traders, this is Blake Morrow with Trader Summit. Make sure you join the most highly anticipated online free trading event of the year, October 21st through 23rd at tradersummit.net. We're gonna have so many great speakers for you for those 3 days. We have speakers like Danielle DiMartino Booth, Brent Donnelly, Mark Minervini, Peter Schiff, Danny Blanchflower, Helene Meisler, and many, many more. So make sure you do register, it's free. Also, our sponsor Eightcap will be giving away 2 iPhone 14s to 2 lucky winners just for registering. So what are you waiting for? I'll see you there. Hey traders, this is Blake Morrow with Trader Summit, and I have Mr. Dick Matthews from Pardus FX with us here to break down everything sterling, what's happening. Mr. Richard, how are you?
Well, what can I say? I mean, it's like the home of democracy, aren't we, in the UK, the mother of all parliaments? Or
I have to say, you guys got kind of a crap storm going on over there, and I say that, you know, politely. But you know, today, as we're filming, you know, it seems like there's a lot of distrust with the Truss government, and it looks like there might be a leadership change. Can you talk a little bit about that and how it might affect the sterling? Because you know, if my memory serves me correctly, Liz Truss took the helm like September 7th or 11th or something. Somewhere around there, and really the sterling isn't far off of where, you know, she was at that point. I think it was around 115. I know we're below that right now, but you know, the question I have, and you know, again, I'd love to hear your opinions here, but and what you think will happen with the sterling. But usually when you have that type of situation, the market likes to revert right back to where we were when, you know, previous to, like in this case, would be back to 115. Now I know that's not very far away, but would there be even a further rally depending on, you know, who takes leadership? But anyway, I guess those are a lot of open questions. Let's start with what's your opinion here?
She's a lame duck. I mean, I think I'd be surprised if she lasts a week, to be honest. I think they're just trying to find an elegant way to replace her.
Okay.
They're not allowed to have a leadership challenge and a vote on leadership for a year. So they're going to have to find a way to slip someone in. So she's going to have to resign. Sunak's a favourite, possibly Mordaunt. I think that it's unacceptable to replace the Prime Minister yet again with someone who's not elected by the country. I think there'll be a big call for general election, and it's pretty hard to resist. This would be, God knows how many, 3 prime ministers in a year. It's just, you know, unknown. So I think there'll be a lot of pressure for an election. Whether they give into that, I don't know. Morally, I believe they should. You know, she ain't going to last, whether it's this week or next week. She's finished.
You know, and that you said something that's interesting. You know, that change can't happen within a year, yet it has.
Yeah.
In the past. I mean, if in the United States, if we had our way, probably based on President Biden's poll numbers, at least, you know, right out of the gate, I mean, he would have been gone within the first, you know, couple months as well. You know, obviously poll numbers change, and, you know, we give them the benefit of the doubt for at least 4 years. That's the way it works here in the United States. It's from an outsider looking in, it's like, oh, my head's spinning thinking about how quickly you guys can change your prime ministers. And how that, I mean,
I can't remember a time,
havoc on your economy, right?
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember a time when it's happened so many prime ministers in such a short space of time. You know, you had Cameron to May, Burburn, election to Boris, and etc. So, you know, it is pretty much unprecedented. And actually, we've had 4 chancellors in 4 months now. And the chancellors arguably is as important as the prime minister. So that's really, really weird. And I wouldn't bet against us having a 5th coming up.
And your chancellor is the equivalent of the Treasury Secretary.
Treasury Secretary. Yeah.
Okay.
So really powerful. He turned her budget completely round, did an absolute U-turn on it. I don't know, there's talk that it's a coup behind the scenes. The IMF had their 2 pence worth, President Biden put his 2 pence worth in, etc. I actually thought it's quite a good mini budget that she did. I did go for growth is a sensible idea as opposed to just accept recession. And if they're talking now about stopping the energy cap, which funnily enough will be inflationary, which makes matters worse. But circling back to the question, where does it leave sterling? I think sterling's still driven by the dollar. And we're compounding the problems, but a lot of the fall is driven by a mighty strong dollar. It's given up a bit of ground recently. The euro's bounced back a little bit, understandably. Whether that's profit taking or not, I don't know. As I think I said last week, if we're anywhere near 115, I'd be looking to sell sterling, and I still feel exactly the same. But I still fundamentally believe you're going to have a very strong dollar, and the Bank of England won't raise interest rates quickly enough to weaken, to strengthen the pound against the dollar. And I also think quite strongly that the UK might be the canary in the coal mine, which I think I wrote last week, in terms of problems in the longer end of the market for pension funds looking for yield and doing anything to increase their yields. With zero interest rates, they've had to go out and be creative to get yield. Yeah. I think there could be other problems, certainly in Italy, certainly in the ECB with some of the Italian BCPs. So I think this could be a worldwide problem, and just the UK got hit first. It was the weakest, and markets always go after smell blood and go after the weakest. So let's sum it up. I think it's driven by the dollar. I think Truss isn't helping herself. She'll go. I just can't see a reason to buy it, I'm afraid.
Wow. Okay. Well, I know we've talked. Well, you've also said this. Actually, I believe last week that 115 seems to be the line in the sand for you, and we got as high as 114.10 overnight in European trade. We were at 114.50, so we're getting close to that. So let's just say, for argument's sake, the sterling breaks 115. What would have to happen? Not just price action, but what would actually have to happen in your mind in order for you to say, well, you know what, I actually need to be long sterling? I know I asked you that. I've asked you that the last 3 times. Yeah. But the question is, if it gets above 115, are you just like, no, this is just a squeeze and I'm going to stick with it?
When Jerome Powell gets on the ballet shoes and starts doing pirouettes and the pivot comes, I don't see any reason to buy any of these guarantees. Until that happens. We are driven by the Fed, and people are looking for a pivot, and they keep getting caught, and they're looking for a pivot. And I don't see a real reason to buy sterling until you see that pivot. I actually think what's interesting is the yen now knocking 149. You've got to think it's going to look at 150. Is the Bank of Japan going to come in and intervene again? Yeah, it came in at 145, took a few pips, and it went straight back up.
Yeah.
That's a real interesting one. So I'm afraid at the risk of sounding like a cracked old record, I still just love that dollar.
You still love the dollar, still loving the dollar, and hating on the sterling. So, well, I appreciate.
I always say hating sterling's a little bit harsh. I love our currency. I love our currency to bits, but I just think it's still fun.
Maybe just not priced correctly at current levels.
Exactly.
well, Dick,
lots of Americans coming to London. We're really cheap over here now. Properties cheap, cars are cheap, hotels are cheap. We got
to do holiday shopping in London. It makes sense this year.
Exactly. Yeah.
So this is great advice that you give us here at the Trader Summit community. What do you do for your clients at Pardus FX?
As I said last week, we look after some high net worth individuals and family offices, and we just try and hold their hands through the markets. And they can be pretty scary times, especially the volatility we've had recently. So we try and hold their hands, point them in the right direction, and the same for some institutions and some corporates. So just try and give them sensible advice and hold their hands.
Well, that's great advice, and we appreciate the advice that you give us here, at Trader Summit every week. And you know, if you guys and gals like what you hear from Dick, make sure you give him a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel so you hear him every week right here on Trader Summit. Dick, thanks for spending your time with us, and have a great week, and good luck with the sterling, and good luck with trusts.
You're welcome, and we need it. Cheers up, Blake. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey traders, Blake Morrow here. Thanks for stopping by our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Also click the bell notifications so you do not miss any of our market-related trading analysis from some of the leading industry experts. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you in the next video.